what's up? If I ask you about the biggest hits that came out of the 2010s, you would think of songs like California Girls, Party in the USA, Dynamite, and TikTok. Behind these hits is the now disgraced producer, Dr. Luke. Dr. Luke is an American musician, songwriter, and record producer who began his career as a guitarist for SNL back in the late 90s. He worked his way up in the music business and eventually got his big break co-writing and co-producing Kelly Clarkson's hit song Since You've Been Gone. Since this major milestone in his career, he's been continuing that momentum progressing in the industry. It's almost insane how every song he had production credits on became a massive success in the music industry. Luke and Max Martin had a great business relationship. They were like the yin and yang of music production. For Kesha, she was introduced to the music industry via Max Martin, who convinced her to come to LA. In 2005, she signed a recording agreement with Cash Money Inc., one of Dr. Luke's companies. Under the terms of that deal, KMI owned the exclusive rights to Kesha's recording services. That meant Kesha couldn't sign any other recording deal or make music from other labels unless it went through Dr. Luke's company. Essentially, Luke through KMI had full authority to negotiate, approve, and control any label agreement made on her behalf. KMI eventually secured her label deal with RCA Records, which was distributed by Sony Music, so Kesha's RCA deal was really a Luke deal. Kesha, unfortunately, was so young, she was just signing deals left and right, so around the same time, she signed with Das Communication as management in exchange for 20% of her music income. At this point, all of Kesha's deals are signed and things are turning up for her until she was with Dr. Luke one night at a hotel room. She claimed that during a party, Dr. Luke gave her what he called a sober pill. Believing it would help her sober up, she took it, but later alleged it actually was a date RAPE drug. Kesha said she later woke up in Dr. Luke's hotel room, naked, sore, and disoriented, with no memory of what had happened. This traumatizing event was brushed under the rug as Dr. Luke became an important figure in Kesha's career. Kesha had one of the biggest careers of the 2010s. Quite as kept, I'd put her in the same realm for hits as Katy. Yes, Katy Perry. Now obviously Katy will always have that #1 spot for the 2010s, but Kesha is basically top 5 girls. She ran the charts for a very short period. It's insane to dissect because she only ran the game for a good 3 years before her career was stunted. With her first album having the biggest song of her career, I vividly remember hearing the song at my elementary school and a Simpsons episode. But needless to say, the song was virtually everywhere. And by song, I'm talking about TikTok. Y'all know what song I'm talking about. It was on everyone's playlist, radio, television, back when music actually ruled the world. The majority of the songs on Animal were all top 10 hits. Blah Blah Blah, Your Love Is My Drug, Take It Off, and who was behind these hits? None other than Dr. Luke. The same year she dropped the EP Cannibal, which also had worldwide success, having singles like We Are Who We Are and Blow, which was featured on Victorious. Now I'm not sure if I have a lapse in memory, but I could have sworn this stuff was years apart, but it was really just months. That's why I'm like, Kesha had so much success in a very, very short period of time, because not long after this, in 2011, Kesha gave a sworn deposition where she denied that Dr. Luke had ever or assaulted her. The deposition was a lawsuit involving her former management company, Das Communications, who was suing both Kesha and Dr. Luke over unpaid commissions. At the time, Kesha and Dr. Luke were on the same side of the lawsuit, which meant that their legal interests were aligned.
Did you ever have an intimate relationship with Gottwald?
No. I don't know what my mother told to David. I know that Dr. Luke never made sexual advances at me, so.
Were you ever told at any time prior to when you met with David for the first time that Luke had had a sexual relationship of any kind with your daughter?
No.
Had anyone told you that Gottwald had slipped Kesha a date drug?
No.
Were you told at any time prior to meeting Das at the Chateau Marmont that Luke had given your daughter drugs of any kind?
No.
Did Dr. Luke ever give you a roofie?
No.
Admitting that he had assaulted her would have not only destroyed her defense in the case, but could have violated her contract with him, since she was still signed to his label, publishing company, and management under Cash Money. So she was legally, financially, and professionally tied to Dr. Luke when she gave that testimony. Kesha was at the peak of her career, and her entire career still depended on Luke's team. He controlled her music releases, her publishing, and her public image. Speaking against him in 2011 could have meant losing everything. Her legal team likely advised her to avoid saying anything that could jeopardize her career or expose her to retaliation. What makes these allegations strong is during the DATS lawsuit, depositions were unsealed in 2021, revealing that David Sonnenberg and Georgina Mikavena, two figures who had managed Kesha early in her career, and this was way before she was famous when she was getting her foot in the door, said that Kesha confided in them that Dr. Luke had treated her in an inappropriate fashion and that she didn't want to continue working with him. Now, this statement is actually very believable considering it happens all the time within the industry. At this point, it's a known secret how a lot of these Hollywood producers and directors like to dangle that little carrot in your face in exchange for your body. Kesha allegedly expressing her discomfort to her old managers is not far-fetched. It's just that Hollywood is about power and connections. She may have told her manager, but her manager probably advised her to brush it under the rug in hopes that it doesn't potentially jeopardize her blooming career. Well, she definitely had a great career, but it came at a cost. Years after working together, Dr. Luke became more aggressive and controlling over Kesha's career, especially over her looks. Becoming more critical of her appearance, he would constantly berate her. Kesha described these incidents of him saying she was built like a refrigerator, basically demeaning her about her weight constantly to the point she started to believe there was something wrong with her. The complaints became endless, so she went on a diet, but soon that diet turned into a full-blown ED. Her idea of food began to change, and she started seeing food as the enemy, feeling like eating was cheating herself out of the perfect body. Whenever she did eat, she'd spiral and start purging until she realized how toxic this lifestyle was. Eventually, it all came crashing down in 2014. Kesha checked herself into a rehabilitation center to treat her ED. This was a rough period for Kesha because she was also trying to get herself out of the contract with Dr. Luke because of his control over her creative direction with her music. It was evident in her previous albums, but for her album Warrior is when things took a serious blow in their business relationship. According to Kesha's court declaration, she described a specific confrontation that took place while working with Dr. Luke. She said that during their recording sessions, he often dismissed her work and made her feel worthless, criticizing her voice and telling her that she was untalented and ignoring the songs she spent days writing. Her contracts gave her no creative control, meaning Dr. Luke had the final say over everything, from what songs she recorded to which tracks appeared on her albums. In one particular case, Kesha said Dr. Luke decided she wasn't a strong enough lyricist and brought in will.i.am to write a verse for her. The lyrics included a line that she would have to call another woman a heifer. Well, Kesha really did not like that. So according to her, Dr. Luke had previously used the same insult against her when mocking her weight. When she refused to sing the lyric, Kesha claimed he became enraged. She said he screamed at her, backed her into a corner, and threatened her. He allegedly told her that if she didn't record the line, he would remove her mother's songs from the album. Now, just a fun fact, her mother used to be a musician and songwriter. That's where Kesha got her skills from. So threatening to take her mom's songs off the album meant cutting off her mother's income. He then warned her that he could take the vocals she already recorded and digitally manipulate them, so she didn't have to sing it. The lyrics were going to be on the album anyways. This continuous back and forth created a deep strain in their relationship. Eventually, Kesha was done with Dr. Luke and the label. She wanted out and expressed that to her mother. Her mom, in turn, wrote an email to Dr. Luke threatening to publicly accuse him of grape and SA unless he released Kesha from all of her contracts and transferred certain publishing rights to her. If he had agreed, Dr. Luke's alleged actions would have been brushed under the rug, but he was not going for that. He was willing to fight back, which obviously led to Kesha filing the lawsuit. So Kesha sues Dr. Luke in California court for SA and battery. Kesha also alleges that Dr. Luke subjected her to long-term emotional abuse and fat shaming. His behavior, she says in the complaint, has caused her severe depression, post-traumatic stress, social isolation, and panic attacks. Kesha asked the judge to free her from her recording contract with Luke's Sony music imprint. That same day, Dr. Luke sues Kesha in a New York court for defamation. He claims she is trying to extort him with the false accusations to get out of her record deal. When Kesha tried to leave Dr. Luke's label, Sony Music said they legally couldn't just release her. That's because her contract wasn't with Sony, it was through Dr. Luke's company, Cash Money. His company acted as a middleman between Kesha and Sony, so without Luke's approval, Sony said their hands were tied. Things took a serious blow by mid-2016. After years of back and forth in court, Kesha's case had reached a standstill. Her request to be released from the contracts had been denied. She was still legally tied to Dr. Luke's label. I can only imagine the stress that this lawsuit brought on her finances. Kesha decided to drop her California lawsuit so she could focus entirely on the New York cases. At this point, she delivered 28 new songs to her label to fulfill her contractual obligations. She released her album Rainbow with the lead single Praying. The album as a whole was extremely emotional while maintaining its pop elements. Commercially, due to the issues with her case, it did have radio play, but not to the degree of Kesha's past albums. Her single Prayer luckily did way better internationally. In April 2017, another shift happened. Dr. Luke stepped down as the CEO of Kemosabe Records. Sony confirmed that he was no longer the CEO, though they didn't cut ties completely. In public statements, Dr. Luke said he still had a relationship with Sony, but neither side clarified what that meant. Many fans saw his exit as a quiet attempt by Sony to distance itself from the controversy without officially severing the business connection. That same year, the Katy Perry text was revealed. During the discovery phase of Dr. Luke's defamation lawsuit, his lawyers found a private text exchange between Kesha and Lady Gaga from February 2016. In those messages, Kesha told Lady Gaga that Dr. Luke had also graped Katy Perry, a revelation which was a shocker to everyone, including Katy herself. In these texts, it starts with Kesha. "I'm really upset with Katy Perry." Lady Gaga replies, "Did she do something?" Kesha replies, "She could bring the whole thing to a head." And as I continue, I'm going to refer to Kesha as K and Lady Gaga as LG. LG says, "Did she?" K says, "She won't." LG, "Oh right, yeah, that is tough." K, "She was raped by the same man. It's sick." LG, "She is probably really afraid to lose everything. You are really strong standing up to him. She's not as strong as you yet. Have you talked to her?" K, "You're right. I need to find sympathy and empathy for her. She's so mean, it's hard." LG, "Do you want me to see if I can talk to her? I know she's mean." K, "Are you friendly with her?" LG, "No. OMG, no. She makes me angry about shit, but I just try to have empathy for her." K, I know why she's not coming forward. You're right and very insightful." LG, "I mean, she probably hasn't even accepted it yet." K, "Maybe it's not my battle." Luke denied the accusation and used the text as evidence in his defamation lawsuit, claiming Kesha was spreading malicious lies to destroy his reputation. The messages became public when court documents were unsealed in 2018, showing that Kesha's claim about Katy was one of the main reasons Dr. Luke said he had lost professional opportunities. So Lady Gaga was called in as a witness. During her questioning, she revealed the first time she met Kesha at Dr. Luke's studio. Kesha was in the back room only in her underwear. Yes, that's how Lady Gaga met Kesha. And Lady Gaga thought it was weird, but again, in the industry, when you see stuff like that, you just turn a blind eye. Eventually, her and Kesha became friends, and she opened up to her about the years of emotional and physical abuse she said she endured with Dr. Luke's control. His lawyers then asked Gaga on how Kesha's accusation had affected Luke's public image. They asked her directly whether she believed Kesha's allegations had damaged his reputation, and she told the court, I don't feel at liberty to speak for the entire world. So if you're asking what my view is of his reputation, I made my view of him and his reputation when I saw her in that back room. That was an image of something that happened to me, and I felt and knew in my heart that she was telling the truth, and I believe her. Gaga's main focus was speaking about how often situations like this happen in the industry. Kesha has spent years confiding in her, so when Katy Perry's name was brought up, Katy wasn't really happy about that. During Katy's court interview, they asked her if she was ever raped, drugged, or had any intimate relations with Dr. Luke, and she said no. Katy and Luke's relationship go back to the beginning of Katy Perry's career. He was behind the biggest moments in Katy's music, from I Kissed a Girl, California Girls, to Roar. Every huge hit, Dr. Luke had a hand in it. After her statements, Katy stopped working with Luke, releasing Witness with zero contributions from him. She quietly distanced herself from him and the drama. She did get backlash from the situation, even though it didn't really have anything to do with her. She was just thrown into the mix and people had these expectations. It's actually understandable that she had a more neutral position for the case. There was an accusation thrown at her on whether or not she was raped by Dr. Luke. And you know, even if she was or wasn't, it's not really anyone's business but Katy's. It's her choice if she wants to disclose that information. She received so much Twitter backlash. People were saying that she supported Grape, and in the end, she felt like she was pressured to support Kesha, not because she didn't want to, but again, there is an accusation about a man graping her. No one truly knows if that's true aside from Katy and Dr. Luke. You can't force someone to admit to something, no matter what you believe, or how strongly you think that they are a victim. After the text messages between Kesha and Gaga were made public, Katy said she felt annoyed and pissed off about being pulled into the situation. She was frustrated with both Kesha and Dr. Luke, saying that Luke knew her denial of the allegation could be used as leverage in his defense. Katy said that she didn't want to be involved because she knew both of them personally and felt empathy for each side. But she also pointed out that her testimony put her in the middle, stating, "When I say I wasn't raped because I was not, that means someone's lying." Ultimately, Katy described herself as being used as a pawn in their legal battle. There have been a lot of artists that spoke out about Dr. Luke in the public way before the Kesha incident, describing him as unpleasant. As I stated before with Kelly Clarkson, she recorded some of her biggest hits with Dr. Luke, including Since You've Been Gone, Behind These Hazel Eyes, and more. She's been very open about her negative experiences with him. In a 2016 Australian radio interview, Kelly said that she was blackmailed by her label into working with him, claiming they threatened to not release her album unless she agreed to record his songs. She described Dr. Luke as demeaning, difficult to work with, and someone who lied a lot, saying he often created problems that made her look bad. Kelly admitted that while he was talented, she questioned his character, saying that character-wise, he just wasn't the best person, making a mental note to never work with him again. Pink had a similar experience in her career. The two had collaborated on her 2006 album, I'm Not Dead. While she did acknowledge that their work together had been successful, Pink made it clear that she would never work with him again. She told the interviewer, "He's just not a good person, and I've told him that to his face." And knowing Pink, she definitely did tell him that to his face. She went on to describe Dr. Luke as someone who doesn't do good business, and isn't a kind person, and doesn't do the right thing when given ample opportunities to do so. BB Rexa had a very interesting experience also. She recalled that when she first arrived in LA, she was flown out by Dr. Luke, who promised to help launch her career. BB said that she was terrified and that the atmosphere made her feel unsafe, especially after what happened to Kesha. She revealed that sometime later, she attended a dinner with Kesha and her mother. Kesha's mom quietly whispered in her ear, "Don't do it." She was referring to working with Dr. Luke. BB said that she listened to that advice and believes that it was the best decision she ever made because she feared that her experience could have mirrored Kesha's. Charlie XCX has also spoken about the negative experiences working with Dr. Luke. She said that he body shamed her, allegedly telling others that she needed to lose weight if she wanted to be a pop star. In later interviews, Charlie reflected that her early experience in the industry working with powerful male producers like Luke left her jaded with the music business. A lot of times, it's not even the artist that wants to work with these big shot producers like Luke. It's really at the hands of these record labels. Luke became big-headed because he had a giant behind him. Having Sony at the tip of his fingers gave him the leverage over people's careers. The judge that was presiding over Kesha's case, Justice Shirley Werner Cornrich, was married to an attorney whose law firm, Prosker Rose, represented Sony RCA, the same label tied to Kesha's contract. So obviously, it looks like a conflict of interest. The connection raised a lot of serious questions, with critics arguing it could have influenced how fairly the case was handled. After nearly a decade in court, the case between Kesha and Dr. Luke ended in June 2023 with a private settlement. With no trial, no verdict, and no definitive answer from the court, both sides released statements maintaining their positions. Kesha said she can't recount everything that happened, but was ready to move on, while Dr. Luke continued to deny all allegations. Kesha has continued to release albums, but due to the fact that she went up against a huge figure like Dr. Luke, her fanbase is what is keeping her music relevant. She has basically been shadowed in the music industry with little industry push. But let me know what you guys think about Kesha and Dr. Luke's case. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Toodles!